Hey guys, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Sydney. I film beauty videos all about my favorite cruelty-free makeup. Today's video is one that I'm super excited to film because we are talking about my favorite part of makeup, and that is eyeshadow palettes. So a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago at this point, I saw Andrea Matalano. I'll link her channel down below if you guys aren't already following her. Definitely check her out. But I saw her do a video all about a couple of palettes that were a little bit older but that were still on her wish list. I feel like in the makeup world, especially on YouTube and on Instagram, on social media in general, we tend to focus on the new, and if something's not brand new, it's old news. I actually did a poll on my Instagram story a couple of weeks ago and I asked you guys when you felt like a product was old, and I think the options were like 1 month, 2 to 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and the majority of your answers were 1 month, and I even got quite a few DMs saying, you know what, I really feel like it's even less than that. I feel like it's about 2 weeks. So I thought it would be fun today to take a second and reflect on maybe some slightly older releases. These aren't old by any means, but I thought it would be fun to chat about a few of the eyeshadow palettes specifically that have still been on my mind, because if you guys have been keeping up with my beauty budget series, you will know that I have a pretty strict $50 budget. Occasionally I do break it. That being said, I do have some restrictions on what I can buy, and I can't buy every single new palette when it comes out. A lot of the times I don't buy new palettes right when they come out. It's very rare that I like order something on launch day. So that's kind of how I buy my eyeshadow palettes in general. Also, I hope the lighting is a little bit better in this video. A couple of you commented on my last video or 2 videos ago when I asked you how the camera quality was with the new lights. Said it was a little bit dark, and as I was editing it, I would have to agree, so I cranked up the lights, I changed the positioning a little bit, and I hope it looked better today. But without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright, you guys, so I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 palettes to talk about today. So I'm not going to spend too much time on each palette because we'd be here for quite a while, but I will insert pictures of them right here so you guys can look at what they look like if you're not familiar with them. So the first one that I thought of is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, and honestly, I had this like burning desire to have this palette in my collection. Probably in the fall and the winter time, around Christmas time, I was like, you know what, if that sucker goes on sale, I'm gonna buy it. But it didn't go on sale, and I didn't buy it, and I didn't buy it, and I didn't buy it, and now it's been a couple of months and I still want it, but I don't know if I will actually ever buy it. I think the color story is beautiful. I do enjoy Natasha Denona's eyeshadow formula. I'm just not sure if it's worth the over $100 that the Metropolis palette is currently priced at. So that's one that's on my wish list. I really like the color story of this. I feel like it's a little bit more fall, winter kind of than maybe like spring and summer, but I think it would be one that if I added it to my collection, I would immensely enjoy it. Next up, this one's kind of cheating because it's 2 palettes, but they're like a match set. And those are the Melt Vida and Muerte palettes. So these palettes came out along with their Amor Eterno collection. I actually did a Shop My Stash for Dupes video on that collection. If you guys are interested in seeing that, I duped everything in the collection. The lippies, the eyeliners, the highlighter, the palettes. Or I tried to dupe them with what I had. And for a while I was satisfied, but you guys, there's something about these palettes that just has my heart. I think they're so beautiful. I think the Muerte palette in particular is very unique to my collection. The Vita palette isn't quite as unique, but I think I would still get a lot of enjoyment and a lot of use out of it. So those 2 are definitely on my wish list. I'm keeping an eye on Melt's website, and if they have a sale, it might happen, you guys. We'll have to see. Okay, so the next palette that I want to talk about is actually a dupe palette, and I have conflicting feelings on dupe palettes, not so much because like it's ripping someone else off, which I feel like I should have more conflicting feelings about, but more so the fact that I've tried a couple dupe brands in the past and I was not impressed with the quality, so I'm a little bit leery as to whether or not I even wanted to try this brand. But the palette that I want to try is the Alter Ego Sahara palette. So this palette was created to be a pretty direct dupe of the Natasha Denona, I think it's called the Biba palette. That palette is straight up neutral. At that price point, there's no way I would ever purchase a palette like that, but the Alter Ego palette really does appeal to me because I think this one is priced at around, I want to say $16. It's less than 20 bucks, I think. So for that, I would feel okay about adding another neutral palette to my collection. Another thing that's kind of holding me back from this one is the fact that it's all matte, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I like to mix some shimmers in, so don't really know if I will ever buy that palette. I'm really waiting for Alter Ego to come out with some more products that I really want to try. I mean, right now I think free shipping on their website is only like 25 or 30 bucks, so it's pretty inexpensive compared to like the usual 50 or 60. I believe right now on their website the things that are really intriguing me are that palette along with the Natasha Denona gold dupe, and then they've also recently come out with some brushes, and I think I watched Butte Bean use them and she said that they were all pretty good. So those are kind of what's intriguing me from that brand right now. We'll have to see if I actually go out and buy that palette. So next up we have the Violet Voss Flamingo palette, and I don't know why this one has just like had me for so long, you guys, but I have wanted this palette for months and months and months. I just think it's so pretty, it's so fun and vibrant. Okay, it's been at least a year. It's been way over a year because this palette is at least a year old. But I feel like I wanted this palette at the very beginning of my colorful eyeshadow craze. And with some of those palettes, I'm looking back at them now and I'm like, it's really not that colorful. Like, why do you want that? Because I do have quite a few colorful eyeshadows in my collection at this point, but that one is just still like on my mind. Every time I look at it I'm like, oh, that's really pretty. Every time Violet Voss has a sale I put it in my cart, I see how much it would be with shipping, but I've never actually bought the palette. So if you guys have used that palette, leave me your thoughts on it down below, because I've also heard some mixed reviews on it, which has also held me back a little bit. Okay, this next palette is one that I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy next month once my budget resets, and that is the Nomad Harajuku palette, Tokyo Harajuku palette. I'm not sure if I'm saying the city name right, but this is their beautiful pastel palette, you guys. This one has been on my wish list pretty much since it launched. I'm not the biggest fan of the packaging just because I don't know, it's not really quite my taste, but I think it is cute and I think it definitely does go along with the kind of Tokyo, Japan theme. But as I was saying, I don't have that many pastels in my collection, so I think this would be a super fun way to kind of add those into my collection, and I really feel like ColourPop is just going to keep coming out with these pastel monochrome 9-pan palettes. So I feel like if I bought this palette, I wouldn't be tempted to buy those palettes, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But that one is definitely one that's a little bit older that I'm really into. Ooh, next up, you guys, we have the Lethal Cosmetics Dream Sign palette. So Lethal Cosmetics sells predominantly single shadows, but occasionally they come out with a pre-made palette or pre-made bundle like this, and I just think the color story of this one is so stunning. I just think the color story of this one is so gorgeous. If you guys ever want color story inspiration, head over to Lethal Cosmetics page. They not only repost beautiful palettes that other people have created, but they repost some of their own palettes that they've curated, and I just think the color stories are impeccable, beautiful. The shadow formulas are absolutely wonderful to work with. I actually have some Lethal Cosmetics shadows, but I got them, I think I got them last December, and that's when I was trying to pre-film to leave, and it was just, I didn't have enough time to test them out, and now I feel like, not that they're old news, but let me know if you guys want to see a review on them. I'd be happy to film one. The mattes are wonderful to work with. The shimmers are a little meh for me, but I thought this palette was beautiful. I thought the color story was so fun and unlike anything I had in my collection. So that one's definitely on my wish list still. Ooh, next we have the Glaminatrix Sandra Rose palette. So I've never tried anything from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I believe they're an Australian-based indie brand. But as soon as they revealed this palette, I was like, oh, that kind of made me do a double take, because before they were releasing things, they were pretty, but they just weren't quite my style. But this is so far up my alley, you guys. I love the berries, I love the greens, I love those little pops of blue. I love that there are some staple neutrals in this palette, but nothing that I feel like is super redundant or takes away from the beautiful colorful looks that you could create. So I don't know honestly if I'm ever going to order from Glaminatrix Cosmetics, because last time I checked the shipping was $20, which is very high. So maybe if someday, if they have an amazing sale or if their shipping goes down or something, maybe I will order this palette, but for now this one's just going to stay on my wish list. Okay, these ones are, I kind of hesitated putting these on this list because I feel like they're not old, but according to you guys in that kind of like 1 month rule that we were going by, these are old palettes, and those are the GVS Place mini palettes. So I love mini makeup, that's no secret. Every time there's a little mini lip set that comes out at Sephora, I'm like, oh, maybe I should buy that, even though I have like 300 other lipsticks in my drawer. But anyways, I love minis, and I think these little mini palettes are so cute, you guys. I've been loving the idea of the little Natasha Denona palettes, but I feel like those are a little bit pricey for the shadows that you get. So I feel like these Juvia's Place little palettes are kind of the perfect in between of that. I'm really attracted to the nude one for some reason, which is crazy because I have so many neutral palettes, it's not even funny. but that one's really catching my eye, and as well as the pink one and the berry one. So those ones are definitely on my wish list. I was really hoping that my Ulta would get them in because they do have a little Juvia's Place end cap on one of the aisles, but they have not come in yet. So possibly if I can like see them in stores and swatch them and see like the different nuances with the shadows, because I know that some of the shadows in those little mini quads are super special, maybe that'll make a purchase, but for now they're just gonna sit on my wish list. Next up, we have the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette, and this is one, you guys, I've gone back and forth so many times on this palette. I don't feel particularly strongly about Tati either way. She is someone that I'm subscribed to. I watch her videos occasionally, but she's not someone where I watch every single video. But I really like the concept of this palette. I went really back and forth on it for a long time, whether I thought it was silly or whether I thought it was cool, but I've watched lots of reviews, I've watched lots of tutorials, and I think it's really cool. I am a fan of pressed glitter. I mean, it's not like my be-all end-all. If a palette has it in there, it doesn't like automatically become a favorite, or I don't automatically discount it if it does have a pressed glitter. But I think those shades are beautiful. I love the color story, even though it's basic warm neutrals. That's what I love. That's what I wear on an everyday basis. So I think that palette may make its way into my collection eventually. I'm trying extremely hard to hold out and wait for her to come out with another palette or another product so I can like either order them together or see the two palettes next to each other and compare and decide which one I like better. But that's definitely one that's been on my mind. Okay, we have two more, and they are both from Huda Beauty. So the first one is the Huda Beauty Retrograde Palette, or Mercury, I can't say Mercury today. Mercury Retrograde Palette. I did a Shop My Stash for dupes video on this palette as well, so I can link that down below. But I am like just drawn back into this palette again and again and again. It's like that with the nude palette as well, her new nude palette. I created a shop, I think I did a Shop My Stash for dupes video on that one too. That one's super cringy and old, so if you want to see that one, you can search my channel, but I'm not going to link it down below. But that palette just like had my heart. It wasn't something that I normally would find myself gravitating towards. It's a little bit more cool toned, but every single time I saw it, every single time I saw someone create a look with it, I was like, I think that's really pretty. I might have to add that to my cart. So that's how I'm feeling about the Retrograde palette. I know that it's not quite as colorful as it seems with the packaging. The biggest reason I haven't purchased this one is A, because I haven't seen it in stores because I don't have a Sephora near where I live, and B, I can't quite stomach the thought of paying $70 for an eyeshadow palette. I think this one is $70 or $69. This is her most expensive eyeshadow palette to date. So that's also where I'm having a hard time with it. I think if she had another like half off palette sale, I would definitely consider purchasing this one, but for now it's just gonna stay on my wish list. The final palette on my wish list is the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette. So when she came out with that range of the new mini baby nude palettes, I did do a Shop My Stash for dupes video on those. I'm sorry I'm referencing those so often. I tried to dupe the palettes that I really want with my singles collection or shadows that I already own, so I'm not getting too many doubles in my collection. But anyways, I did do a video on those, and I felt like the light one was the one I had the hardest time duping. The medium and the deep one I felt like I really nailed, but the light one, I was having a little bit of a hard time duping it. And I've been seeing people create looks, and I've just been seeing the palette over and over again, and it's still something that's on my wish list. This one is much more affordable than her larger palettes. I believe these retail for $29, and they're super cute, they're super compact. I love the size. I know that I like Huda's shadow formula, but this is definitely one that I would like to swatch in stores just to kind of get a feel for if these shadows are different than the shadows in the new nude palette, and kind of get a feel for the color story in person. But it's definitely one that's on my mind and on my wish list. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and found it entertaining. I would love to know what kind of older palettes you guys have on your wish list down below. And if you guys want me to do this like maybe once every 6 months, I would absolutely love to. Talking about eyeshadow is my favorite thing in the entire world. I could literally just sit here and talk about eyeshadow and swatch it and just drool over it for hours and hours. So that's gonna wrap it up today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me on my channel. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. In general, I'm going off on a tangent, aren't I? Yeah, okay. Gotta scooch over. Okay, yeah, this is a good spot. Pull up my list. Okay. Ooh, are my lashes on? Okay, they're still on, we're good. So the first one is Huda Beauty Mercury. And then the final palette is the Huda New, are they called nude nudes? New nudes? new. The final palette on my wish list, oh my gosh,